I'm very delighted to be speaking to you today about reflection and action, because I think of it really as the yin and the yang of the spiritual life. That reflection alone could become stale and self-centered, and that action without reflection would become automatic and reactive and unproductive and again self-referencing really in a different kind of a way. So what we really need is the ground out of which action can emerge, that is connecting, that is healing, that is creative, that is generative, that is sometimes exciting, and that is sometimes very, very subtle and very, very still. So I think that one of the grand tasks, one of the most magnificent opportunities that we have when we come together at a service like this is really to renew our appetite for reflection. In that glorious song that Liz just sang for us, we are inviting the divine to be present in our thinking, to be present in our actions, to be present in our hearts, so that also at the moment when we leave the body, the divine will be in our awareness of it, present. So what we're really talking about is tuning to the depths of our being, tuning to what we are capable of as conscious beings. We're tuning to consciousness, awareness of what it means to be fully human, and then we are acting out of that place, which doesn't mean that we will always act wisely or well, but we will be able to recover when we don't, because we will reflect on it, and we will learn from the greatest teacher of all, which is the teaching of our own existence. One of the most powerful stories that there is on this great theme is the familiar story of Martha and Mary. And I love this story so much. And I'm going to read it to you in a moment, and it's really very short, but we could spend a whole year thinking about it. But before I read it to you, I just want you to get the picture that we have these two sisters, Martha and Mary, who were probably only 15 or 16 years old. Very young. Neither of them apparently yet has a husband. We don't know anything about their parents either. We do know that they had a brother called Lazarus, and that this brother had been raised from the state that we would normally call dead and brought back to life. So we know that these women were already living in a state of wonder, a state of awe, a state of expectancy, which is also our privilege. But they were very young. And then into their presence again comes this also very young, remarkable, extraordinary, humble teacher that we have come to know as Jesus. So I'm just going to read you this little story. This little story that is such a big story. And before I actually read it to you, I want you to know that at this point it is said that Jesus was traveling with 72 followers. That was quite a big retinue. And some people think that they were all invited into the house. Whether this is correct or not, we don't know. But he was traveling with a lot of people. The other thing I'd like you to remember is that just before we hear this story in the Gospel, we are told the story of the Good Samaritan. And this is also a quite wonderful story, because it's a story of reflection, that out of reflecting on our common humanity, we would react and act quite differently from if our reflection takes us to a point of divisiveness. And I'll teach on that story again soon, because it's really worth spending time on the Good Samaritan story on a regular basis. But I want you to know that that sits in this gospel just before we hear this marvelous story about Jesus visiting these two young women, these two remarkably young women, Martha and Mary, Martha and Miriam. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a certain village where a young woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. What a moment. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. So she came to Jesus and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." And Jesus answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which shall not be taken from her." In other words, he was reminding us, not just those two women, and not just maybe the 72 followers who were sitting outside waiting for a cup of water. He was reminding us that our actions are transformed when we have taken the time to listen to the teachers that exist outside ourselves, to listen to the teacher of our heart, to listen to the teachings of our lives, that these moments of sitting, these moments of meditation, these moments of prayer, these moments of music, these moments of contemplation of a plant, of a strawberry. I think Rachel has brought some strawberries for us today so we can all have the strawberry experience. These moments are precious moments, but aren't they also the moments that we most easily set aside? That we most quickly say, "I don't have time. If only I had time to go on retreat. If only I had time to pray. If only I had time more regularly to come to the services." But this is the ground of our life. This is the ground of our being. And all that we are asked to do is to water those many, many seeds of contemplation with the magnificence and the optimism and the love and the hope of our divine intentions and our human attention. We are called to be Martha and Mary, not in the same moment, understanding that different moments ask different gifts from us. But if we focus entirely on our Martha-ness, we leave ourselves empty. If we focus entirely on our Mary-ness, we leave some moments of connection undone. We are called to be Martha and Mary. It's a joy.